No, I thought the cat touched my foot, but we're going live, but we're not live. Now we're live. We're live. What's going on, D-Bags? Hope you guys are doing well. We're back here again with another episode, the 197th episode of the Dtalks podcast. I'm your host, Darren, Rita. Feel free to connect with me at any of the links down below. And if you're new here and you enjoy music, podcasts, comedy, or hooping videos, do consider subscribing. We've got a whole lot of that going on around here. And when you do subscribe, leave a like, hang out with us here in the live chat like you're going to do tonight, and turn notifications on. It really helps us share conversations and laughs like the stuff we're going to have tonight with more people. So do consider doing that. Now, before I can jump into today's episode, I got to talk to you guys a little bit about car insurance. These days, it seems like things are just getting more and more expensive, man. I'm a big Lego guy. Lego's not getting any cheaper, okay? You know, gas isn't getting cheaper. Actually, it goes up and down with the gas. But most things are getting more and more expensive, it feels like, right? And so is other companies' car insurance. So why aren't you saving some money with Kenosha Auto Insurance? Let your hometown agency, Kenosha Auto Insurance, help you and your family save some money. They've got the best, simple, hassle-free, touch-free technologies that will help you guys save some money on your car insurance. Give them a call today. That's 262-448-4141, 448-4141. The website's kenoshains.com. It's on the screen right now. It's linked down below. Give them a call. Tell them Rita dtalks sent you. The worst that could happen is you're going to get the best rates. So do consider doing that. Now, before we get into everything today, I joked about it last week that I was thinking about getting a haircut, and I did. Probably can't tell. I didn't get a lot off, but if you compare last week's thumbnail to this week's, you will see a slight difference. It is like I got like 1.5 inches taken off, so I just had to address that in case anybody cared. I'm sure nobody gives a fuck, but I posted that I was at the salon getting it cut, and on my story, and I had like a bunch of people swipe up and be like, bro, what are you doing? Why? Don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't do it. So what's up with that? Am I supposed to keep it or am I supposed to not keep it? Because sometimes people, I run into a thing where it's like half the people in my life want me to get rid of the hair. The other half of the people are like, dude, if you ever cut your hair, I'll kill you because your hair is awesome. So I don't know. And I'll tell you what, I'm in both camps, because some days I'm like, man, it's cool that I have cool hair, you know? And like, not in like, oh my God, my hair is the coolest, whatever, but it's just like, it's different. My whole life I had like a short buzz cut or a fade, you know, like didn't have anything cool going on. There's nothing against dudes with fades, right? Everybody looks good with a fade for the most part. There's no personality in that. Not that you don't have a personality, my homie with a fade listening right now, right? I'm not saying that. You probably have way more colorful personality than I do. And I had one for like my whole life, so that's not what I'm saying. But it's just interesting. It's cool when people have interesting hairstyles and express themselves differently. I think it's cool. So I like that aspect of it, right? But as we were joking about it last week, sometimes can be a lot of maintenance, especially with curly hair. It's not like I just have like straight hair or something, or something like that, wavy hair or whatever. Like I have just really curly hair, and I didn't know how to take care of it. People ask me all the time. I have guests come on and they'll be like, what's your hair routine? And I would always give them such a sad answer, and they'd be so disappointed because they'd be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And I talked to my person that was cutting my hair, and they gave me some tips. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, so I'm in both camps. You know, sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I love it. But I don't know. You guys let me know. Should I get rid of it or should I not? But so I went to the salon to get my hair cut. I went to the Aveda Institute. So, right, it's like the college where people are learning. I think, what are they getting certified, right? You're getting like certified so that they can go to big salons or start up their own practice, whatever, so that they can get their certificate that says, hey, I know how to do this stuff. And I did that for a few reasons. Mainly, I am broke, and it is cheap. Secondly, I had a bunch of questions about how to take care of my hair, like I just mentioned, and I knew that there was going to be an instructor around, so I could ask somebody that knew what they were talking about. Luckily, too, the girl I had that was cutting my hair, she's close to getting ready to graduate. She was really awesome, and she knew quite a bit about her. I guess her sons have very similar hair to mine, so that was cool. But yeah, I felt kind of weird because I'd been joking now for however many episodes about getting a haircut, and I got homies that cut hair. I got homies that have been on the show that cut hair. And I thought about maybe hitting some of them up to be like, hey, let's get this done. And I just don't think I was in the right headspace to do that, because maybe it's my anxiety or something else, but I couldn't risk something going wrong and then me resenting this person, because I've not been in a good headspace like lately, if that makes sense. I've been injured, and I'm injured, so I can't compete in the sport basketball that I'm very passionate about, and my training for like everything else has had to really take a step back, and getting better every day. But so that, along with just the regular mental health things, it's been tough. So I didn't want to add that, like, oh, let's call up one of my homies that recently graduated and put them on the spot to fuck up my image as like a creative, and I'm an artist, so like I'm gonna have to take pictures and put them on Spotify and whatever. I don't want to get pissed and hate my homie. I joked about it a while ago on the podcast with my friend D Harp, who was in school at the time for cosmetology, and I was telling him a story of somebody else I know that had an older sibling that had just finished school and like really wanted to cut someone's hair, and I volunteered as tribute, and I'm not cool with that person anymore. So, if a bad haircut can do that, it can do that to you. So I apologize if I got any homies that do tune into the podcast regularly, that do cut hair. Hit me on the next one, okay? I'll try to do my best to be in a better place where that even if something did go awry, I'll be okay. I just wasn't in the place. It would not have been good if something did go wrong. But I had to say that because I did post about it, and I didn't want one of my friends that cuts hair to feel slighted. Because, if I had a friend that had been on the show or whatever and maybe doesn't usually do music or doesn't usually do podcasts or whatever, and they like all of a sudden just like linked up with somebody else and was like, this guy's the GOAT at, mixing my vocal or whatever, and they'd like never done anything. I'd be like, hey, like we're homies. You could have asked me, like I would have helped you out, like I would have done whatever. So I just wanted to explain why. Not that I guess owe anybody an explanation, but I felt like it's the right thing to do because I care about my homies that cut hair. Aside from that, man, we got some interesting stuff to get into today. If you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. New John Wick came out. The Dalai Lama is trying to get some kids to suck his tongue. Pretty weird stuff going on in the world. But the John Wick movie, man, we'll get to Dalai Lama later. The John Wick movie, great movie. Great movie, John Wick Chapter 4, phenomenal. I'm going to give you guys some non-spoiler. I don't want to spoil the movie. I don't like doing spoiler reviews on this channel or on this podcast. I don't think I've ever done any spoil. I always keep it low, no spoilers, whatever. But I just got to say, I don't know how they do it, dude. Like I didn't watch the first two John Wicks when they came out. My friends put me onto them after the fact. And I'd watch them like on some streaming service when they were on it a while back, and was like, damn, these are some very, very good films. And I'm not into action film, like just like, oh, constant action the whole time kind of movies. But these movies, I don't know what it is, dude. The choreography, I do know what it is. It's the fight choreography and the creativeness, as well as they sprinkle in quite a bit of very decent to almost excelling at world building, in my opinion. I think they do a really good job with the world building in the franchise. But yeah, man, I looked up Dalai Lama, and this was the third recommended. Wow, look at us, Car 75. You're the GOAT, man. We're ranking. Yeah, he did some weird stuff. We're gonna get to that in a little bit. But the new John Wick film, dude. If in the first couple movies, things kept getting crazier and crazier, so I can't talk about the other movies because they've been out for long enough where I don't feel bad, right? First movie, your boy John runs into some people. They kill his dog. He fucks a bunch of people up. Has to get back into the assassin's world, the underground assassin world. Ends up killing people that he's not supposed to kill. So then people want to kill him in the second movie. Everybody chasing him down. Second movie ends. He kills somebody in one of the Continentals, which is like, you can't do that. That's a big no-no in this world. And so then he goes excommunicado, and the third movie starts immediately after. Every assassin in the world is trying to kill him. He does some crazy shit. is basically gets finessed at the end by his homie, shot off a building. For like 2 seconds, you're made to think maybe he's dead. He's not dead. He's alive. Fourth movie starts. Amazing. Super cool. But, dude, I just got to say, the creativity is what sets John Wick apart from other, like, action movies that I've had friends of mine, or, like, especially guys. I know a lot of guys are into action movies, and I get that it's just not for me. But the creativity of the John Wick franchise, of the direction, and the fight choreography is what does it for me. Again, I'm not going to spoil plot threads of the movie, but there is a couple of wow moments. There's for me, one of them is there's this scene in like an old building in France, and he's killing a bunch of people, and he ends up getting this like sick like flamethrower pump shotgun, and the camera pans from like, it's like over his shoulder for a second, and then it goes up to like the ceiling, and it's almost like a top-down view, like an old video game with like multiple rooms, and you can see all the different rooms and the people trying to go in and make their moves on John, and he's just messing them all up, and it's so well done, so cool. And on top of that, there was another scene where he's like doing donuts for maybe 35 seconds straight around these 4 cars of other assassins, smoking all of them. And it's just cool, dude. It's just like fun. It's just a very, very fun movie. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you go see it because it's very good. If you haven't seen the other ones, you need to. You need to see them. I don't know where you're going to see them at, because that's something that I was pissed off about, and a little sidebar I wanted to rant about today. If Hollywood, if we want to keep doing these sequels, if we want to keep release, like, we don't want to start any new IPs or new franchises, right? We want to just like milk a franchise. Not saying that's what they did with John Wick, right? I think those are good movies. But if we want to keep releasing numbered titles, like we're like, man, this first movie worked, let's just keep doing fucking 20 of these. Okay? Cool. If the new movie's coming out in theaters or is in theaters, can we make all the other movies accessible to be watched on streaming services? I don't know why I sound like I said surfaces. Because I think it's so dumb, right? Me and my friend booked our tickets to go see John Wick, and I was so excited because like all of them at the time were on HBO Max, the other 3, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna watch them this week. I was working that weekend, so I didn't have time, but we decided we were gonna watch it the next weekend in theaters, the new one, and I was like, I'm gonna watch those this week once I'm done working. So the weekend ends, and Monday comes around. I got a little bit of time, like, man, I'm gonna start watching the first one in between editing and stuff. Like, let me just turn that on my phone. Not on HBO Max anymore. None of them. All got moved. They were all on separate different streaming services. And I'm like, who's doing the marketing for these movies? Because wouldn't you, if you want to like sell more tickets to the movie, right? The box office where we're going to make like a ton of money. Wouldn't you want maybe people that don't know what the franchise is about or haven't seen it, but they're aware of it coming out, to be like, oh yeah, that new John Wick movie's coming out. Maybe all 3 of them are on Netflix, or all 3 of them are on Hulu. Like, maybe I should just watch those and see if I like it. And if they watch one and they love it, and then they watch the other ones, they're like, shit, we can catch the premiere of this thing, or we can watch it the week after, while it's still in theaters. I just think it's really stupid that some of these franchises aren't doing that. It was the same thing when the last Creed was coming out, Creed 2. Like, I had never seen Creed 1, and I love the Rocky franchise. Like, grew up on those movies, loved them to death. I wanted to see the Creed 1 before I saw Creed 2 because I could go see it in the theater. I had some friends that wanted to go see it, and it wasn't on anything. Like, it was like, I think Amazon Prime, you could pay for it, or it was on something else that I didn't have. And I was like, that's so stupid to me. And the same thing when the new one was coming out, 3 was coming out, and my girlfriend and I wanted to go see it, and none of them were on streaming services. And then it was like the week before the opening weekend, they switched it. So they actually are doing basically what I'm saying to do, and they put them all on. It was all on HBO Max. I think they're on something else too, but we saw them all on HBO Max, the 2 of them, and then we went to go see the 3rd one, and we're all caught up, and we can be just as into it as everybody else that's seen the other ones. And I think that's just a way smarter way of doing things. Like, I think it's really silly to not have them be accessible, and then expect people to be interested. Especially there's so many movies now that, like, I don't know. Basically everything's a franchise. I've never seen any of the Fast and Furious movies. Are those on something? Maybe. They probably are. They're not. I don't think they're very good. At least I've been told that they're not very good. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if there's a franchise, if Scream 50 is coming out, however many movies they made of that, right? Maybe make the other 49 available and easily accessible. Like, hey, they should be on the front page of whatever streaming service is on. Like, hey, the new blank movie's coming out. Here are the other ones. Check this out. I just think it's a smart way to keep people interested in these franchises, if that's what we're going to do. I don't fully agree with Hollywood not trying to make anything new. I think maybe they should, give some other things a chance. But then again, as consumers, that's what we buy. We're buying the name, and we keep going back to see these sequels. So fine. But if that's what they're going to do, give the people that maybe missed the first one or missed a random one in the mix a chance to go watch it. That's why I think, Disney Plus has a pretty big advantage with even like the Marvel movies. Like, if you're not the biggest fan of them, but your friend wants to take you to go see one, and you have Disney Plus, you can go watch the last one, the one that came out before it, or the three that came out before it if you want to. I think it's just a smarter way of doing things. And I guess I'll segue then. I wasn't gonna just rant about movies the whole time, but I'll segue into the next thing I want to get to, because I want to talk about John Wick and the sequels in Hollywood. But I don't understand with this sequels thing. A friend and I were talking about, he had gone and saw the latest Scream movie. And again, I'd never even seen the first Scream. I heard that one's good. Apparently the first couple of those movies are good. I feel like that's how it usually happens with these franchises. Like, the first couple are usually all right, and then some of them just get drawn out or whatever. And he was explaining to me part of the reason that it was kind of lame to him was the fact that, like, legacy characters, like people that have were in the original Scream, are still in Scream 6 or 7, whatever one they're on now, and like have not been touched, have not died. Even if they get like brutally stabbed or shot or whatever, like they somehow live every time. And at a certain point, if like, especially in horror, I think it's probably worse, right? If as an audience member, I'm supposed to be afraid of whatever antagonist, if they can't seal the deal on somebody who's been in this franchise for 20 years, you can't kill one. Like, I guess Courtney Cox has been in all of them. That's what he was telling me. You can't take out one Courtney Cox. How am I supposed to be scared of you, dog? Like, how am I supposed to be afraid of what you can do? Like, they'll like bring a new character into a movie and kill that one. But it's like, we don't, as audience members, we don't care about that new character. We care about the people that have been there for the last 6 movies. So I think it's interesting how they've been doing that lately with a lot of Hollywood films. And it's kind of boring. I don't know. I just think it's lame. Like, I forget what movie we were watching not that long ago, and not a single person. It was some action film. Was it Bullet Train? I don't. Lord of the Rings too. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. I mean, yeah, but Lord of the Rings. Yeah, none of the main characters bit the dust. But that's like based off the book, so I can't be mad at the movie for it, right? That's the book. But I don't know, man. Some of these movies where I'm like, they'll tell you what the stakes are. They'll literally someone will be like, oh my God, this is at stake. Or like the world could whatever. Or so-and-so might lose or might die or whatever. But it's like, dude, not a single person, especially in these like adult films with like, there's supposed to be a chance of death or destruction. And like, it's always just somebody we don't give a shit about that gets killed. Or no one gets killed. I'm like, it just feels like a cop-out. Especially, again, tying it back to what we were talking about with the Scream thing. Where it really seems like, okay, this girl has been in the movies. This actress has been in the movies since the beginning. So she is the face of this franchise, right? She is basically like our Steph Curry. She's why people come to see the Warriors play, right? She's why people come to see Scream, or part of the reason. So even though she's going to we have to make people think that she might get hurt. So she gets, for whatever reason, brutally stabbed, shot, whatever, goes like we think she's dead. They got to throw in there at the end that somebody gets a phone call and they're like, oh, she's okay. She's stable now. Why? Because if they can convince her to sign her for one more movie, that movie's going to do better because you're going to go see it because that person's in it, and I'm going to go see it because that person's in it, whatever it is. And man, I just think it's lame. We got to stop. We gotta stop. My dad was joking with me this weekend. He said, consumerism is our only freedom currently left. It's the only thing that we can do, right? Is vote with our wallets. So if you don't like something, don't go see it or don't buy it, whatever. But just an interesting thought, man. That's my rant on movies for the week. We got the haircut out of the way. We got the movies out the way. That Dalai Lama, your man's is out here. He's doing some weird stuff. And apparently this is an old video. I'm going to pull it up on my phone here because, we're not trying to stress out the computer like that. The Dalai Lama, if you guys don't know who that is, it's basically in Tibet. He's a Tibetan spiritual leader. There's like several, I don't know if they're called denominations or whatever, but there's like different practices of like Buddhism and other spiritual teachings or whatnot in Tibet. He's basically appointed as like the head of one of them, right? That's what the Dalai Lama is, a position. And he was at some event with a bunch of young kids, greeting them and talking to them, speaking, I imagine, at this event. And there's a clip going around now of this event from earlier this year, like back in, I don't know, January, February. And he's like kissing the kids on the cheek, whatever, innocent, I guess. Like give him a hug, kiss on the cheek, whatever. And then the one kid, he takes it a step further. And I'm gonna find this video and play this for you real quick because this is what people are freaking out about. Okay, we've got it. They do blur the face out. And yeah. So I'll just play it. I'll play it with sound into the microphone, and they should be able to see it once it flips. I'll turn my brightness up as well to make it a little bit easier. You see that okay? You can see his face is blurred. So he goes, kiss on the cheek. Then he goes, oh, kiss on the mouth also. He tells him.
And suck my tongue.
You heard that, right? He doesn't do it. So we don't have to free. He doesn't suck his tongue, but he goes in like he was joking. I guess it was in jest, is what he's saying. But they did get like this very close. Like the kid doesn't know, right? This is like the all-powerful Dalai Lama, right? I mean, I'm not powerful, right? But it's like if you were a little kid in a church. I mean, we know what happens sometimes, but like. If you're a kid and this is adult in an important position and you're in front of a bunch of people and they say do this, you're probably going to do it. I mean, the kid was about to do it and he stops and whatever. And so it's not a good look, man. And he literally said, you could hear it in the headphones. He literally said like, kiss cheek, and then he kissed the cheek and he touched the mouth, and then he could kiss him on the mouth. And I get that's, whatever, that's custom. There's different cultures. I can't speak on that. But then he says, suck my tongue. And that's a wild thing to say in those robes, man. Like, that's a crazy thing to say. Like, my man is in a bed sheet, and he's telling this kid to suck it. Like, that's just not a good look, Like, that's tough. That's tough. And so it's been kind of going around, and people are going back and forth. Some people are arguing because in Tibet there is it is kind of a thing to not to suck tongue, but to like stick your tongue out is like a greeting, like in certain parts of Tibet, I guess, or Tibetan culture is like sticking your tongue all the way out is like a greeting thing. And I guess it dates back to something there was some like evil king, or if it was a story or whatever, somebody had a black tongue, and so like to prove that you're a good guy, you don't have like a all black tongue, people would stick their tongues out and be like, hey, like whatever. So people are trying to argue that, say like, oh, okay, maybe it was just an extension of that. But He's apologized already, and now people are accusing him of pedophilia after the fact. But he did just issue an apology, and I will, since I showed you guys the video, I don't think it's fair to not show the apology. Let's see here, Dalai Lama. He's the 14th one, so I don't know if that has anything to do with. Let's see, apology. But that's pretty crazy, man. We had a video a long time ago where one of my friends was yelling to one of my other friends, his brother, who was playing in a football game, yelling "suck some toes," and people were freaking out about that. So I think it's pretty interesting with this. All right, let's see. Here we go. So he says it's like a Notes app apology too, by the way. It's a little classier because it's not a Notes app. It's like a clear page. So it's just like typed and then zoomed in, like a PDF apology, not Notes app apologies, PDF. It's classier than that. A video clip has been, this is Dalai Lama's apology or response.
Like on Instagram or like
Twitter. This is his Twitter, his official Twitter. It is weird that, yeah, it's interesting. A video clip has been circulating that shows a recent meeting when a young boy asked His Holiness the Dalai Lama if he could give him a hug. His Holiness wishes to apologize to the boy and his family, as well as his many friends across the world, for the hurt his words may have caused. His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way, even in public and before cameras. He regrets the incident. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know enough about what's going on over there to really like deep dive it, right, and tell you what was really going on. But that's what people are freaking out, and I do got to say it's not a good look. You know, like even if you're I just don't think you can joke as messed up as it is. As somebody who makes jokes on this podcast, it says some dicey things from time to time. I just don't think you can do that there in the position you hold, right? I'm an idiot. I am a weirdo with a microphone. I am a weirdo who saved up enough money to buy podcast equipment, who, you know, people so creatively say every once in a while, not everybody needs a podcast in the comments, right? You're very creative. Not everybody needs to breathe either, so you should stop if that's what you comment. It's just, you're lame. But, you know, so I can say dumb stuff because I'm nobody. I hold no power over any type of religious or spiritual denomination, right? But if you're a priest and you have children that are looking to you as a guide and as a figure of importance, there's a lot less of wiggle room to be, you know, sticking your tongue out and hoping that it sucked. What if the kid just went for it right away? Like, thank God the kid hesitated. What if the kid went for it, even if it was a joke? Like, I know he's saying he was joking, and maybe let's pretend for a second he was, because obviously there was a lot of cameras, a lot of people around. He would have to be. Even if he was, you know, P word, hopefully he, you know, I don't know. He would probably be trying to hide it better, I'd imagine. But there's so many people around, right? So maybe, you know, it was a lapse in judgment. But let's pretend that he was actually joking and it wasn't that. What if the kid goes for it? What if the kid just listens to the high and mighty? You know, he doesn't know that it's a joke. The kid doesn't know it's a joke. So, and I don't know what the joke is. Like, that be like a priest, again, because I'm a little bit more familiar with that type of stuff. That'd be like a priest here at a church in the U.S. Having like one of the altar boys come up and hand him something, and the kid's like, "Can I give you a hug, you know, Father, whatever?" And he gives him a hug, and he's like, "Why don't you cut my balls? Like, just cup them quick." And the kid's like, and then he's like, "I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding." Like, what's the joke? Like, the joke is that I was saying something wildly inappropriate to a child. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I just think it's kind of wild. It took the Dalai Lama 6 weeks to apologize, so that makes it more sus. Okay, so that's I didn't know that. I've been seeing all the outrage today. Is when the first I became aware of it. But I did know it was a while ago. It was at least a month ago. We've got some other comments here. Bro, one time my priest was mad I wore bright red lipstick and told me to kiss his hand till it came off. And I was like 13 years old, so I did. I'm so sorry, dude. Dog, that's messed up. What? That's what I'm saying. But that makes you. I mean, think about this, dude. Me today as a 24-year-old, like if I'm at work or in some setting where there is another adult that I am supposed to defer to for direction or instruction, if they make a joke, like, or if they just are like, hey, do this, I'm gonna do it. And like they may be, I'm just kidding, you don't have to do all that, dog. Like, but at least like it would be like, hey, why don't you hang that poster, or like pick up that whatever it is, and it's like, oh, it's filled with cinder blocks or something, and I go to pick it up and I'm like, oh my god, I can't do it, and they're like, I'm just kidding, dog, don't pick that up, that stays there. You know, like that's like an okay joke as somebody who's like in a position of power. Not kiss my hand till your lipstick comes off. Or like how I mentioned, why don't you just cut my balls, bro? Like, no big deal. Oh, we're just kidding. All in the name of God, you know, we just joking. You can't do it, bro. You can't do that. You can't. Isn't lying a sin? Yeah, I don't know what jokes, what counts as a joke, what counts as lying. Because a lot of jokes are lies. A lot of my favorite jokes are lies. But I don't know. I didn't expect all that. Coco, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened to you. That is terrible. That is very, very bad. Yeah, we've got I saw someone say average religious person. God damn, man. What? Yeah. I'm just trying to think, like, if I was that kid, what I would have done. I don't know. The kid did look young. I mean, because I would have listened to him. I would have, just like the kid did. He went in for it. I mean, he paused. He was like, wait, that sounds weird. And then he went. I don't even know if I would have had that. I would have been so scared. Just in that moment, you're on stage with the most powerful person in like what you're, growing and learning about. You're on stage in front of all these people, and he says do something. You're going to fucking do it. You know? That's crazy. Good for the kid, though, that he didn't, I guess. Or that they stopped it last second. But yeah, dude, that's wild. How do you get that position? I don't know enough about the culture, you know? I gave a tiny bit of an explanation as to what it is and stuff, but I don't know a lot about it. So, like, is he, like, appointed? Is he voted? You just, like, research enough. He just learned enough about enlightenment that he just gets it. But I don't know, man. That's pretty wild. Pretty wild to me. The priest deserves jail time. Yeah. Yeah, maybe, dude. He's had it since a kid. He was chosen. So is he like the last airbender? Like, how does that work? He's the chosen one? That's interesting. So it's a family type thing. He's a Nepo baby? Whew, that's tough, man. Yeah, well, you know, shout out to, nobody in this case. I'm going to say nobody. We're going to go no shout outs on this one. That's sad. It's not good. It's not a good look for your boy, the Dalai Lama. Hopefully whatever he's doing is better. They have a ceremony, and he chose the right object that made him the chosen one. Dude, I don't mean, okay. Now again, I am just a dumb guy. So this is not to be meant offensively at all. But so, like, what if it was just like, a couple red Solo cups, and they like put a ball, like a ping pong ball, in one of them, and then they just like someone just spun them around, and they're like, if you get this, you will have the power to ask little boys and girls, they'll suck your tongue because you are our spiritual leader. I don't know. So he just picked a thing? What is this, Indiana Jones? Good for him. Good for him. Good for them. I don't know it. I don't want to be disrespectful to the culture, so I'm not going to make any more ill-advised jokes on that. But I saw a weird thing, or I heard a weird thing today. A friend of mine was telling me about somebody else that they know recently went through a breakup, right? Somebody went through a breakup. Not a good time, feel bad for them. And they're pretty sad in this moment. Like, they were, like, just broken up with. Like, literally within, that day. And someone else, one of their peers, comes up to them and is like, oh, my God, that's so terrible. Yo, great idea, though. Light bulb moment. What if you date my brother? Apparently, and then, they go to show them the person, they show them their brother and whatever, and they're kind of like trying to sell him and ends up not being very good. It's a tough sales pitch to make, We'll just say that my man's was holding the big fish in the picture. But whatever, that's enough. That's all I'm going to get into. But the thing is that was weird to me was not even the fact that maybe the guy wasn't good, like her brother wasn't good, but the fact that somebody would, like, actively try to court their sibling, like, to somebody else. Like, maybe I don't like my siblings enough, or maybe I'm a bad brother or something, but I would never go to somebody I know and be like, yo, you should fuck my brother. You should try to date my sister. That's what you need. I would never do that. And not because I don't want them to date that whatever, but that's weird. Why am I selling my sibling to you? That's weird to me. And maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong? Have you ever sold your sibling to somebody else? Have you ever tried to? Okay, never mind. My producer here has done that very thing. But apparently with my sister. Yeah. With my sister to somebody else. Mm-hmm. You told somebody else to date my sister. Mm-hmm. I got to quit this job. Today's my last day hosting. Today is my last day. We almost made it to 200, guys. I'm sorry. Why? I don't know. I guess it's different because you didn't do your own sister, but it's just weird to me. Like, I would never be like I could understand almost if one of my siblings was dating somebody, and I could understand being sad that, like, they break up with somebody that I liked. Like, I was like, so and so that guy was a good guy, or that girl was a good girl. Like, you shouldn't have. Obviously I wouldn't even say you shouldn't. I don't know the extent of their relationship, right? But I'd be like, damn, that kind of sucks. Like, I liked so-and-so. I could see that. But I would never be like, hey, person that isn't dating my sibling, you should think about it.
Well, like, if they have common interests, like, it could be
No. They find their own. That's weird.
There's matchmakers.
Maybe I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I'm in the wrong.
It is a little weird.
It's a little weird, especially, I don't know, man. Yeah, just weird. Just wanted to bring that out. Thought you guys should know about it. This week has been weird for me. We had another clip go viral over on TikTok, and my homie Justin, who's been on the podcast several times, Justin Kimberly, was talking about himself quitting. When he quit smoking marijuana, and I will say his vocal fry was a little tough during that clip, and so people were like, "Bro, this guy he just stopped smoking weed and he's on Xans now." Like, everyone thought he was fucked up during the interview, which he was not. But he talked about, like, how it was tough and how you can get mentally addicted. His opinion, you can be mentally addicted to weed, and quitting was difficult, and he experienced what he believed to be withdrawals in the first week or so, 2 weeks, and because he was smoking so much. And And people were very passionate about this clip in both parties. Like some people being like, dude, I was addicted to weed and all my friends tell me you can't get addicted. Like I needed it every day. Da, 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 da. I'm X amount of years sober now, whatever, whatever. And you have the other people being like, not everybody needs a podcast. Like, shut the fuck up. This is pathetic. Like, dude needs to do real drugs to know what it's like to have withdrawal. Like, weird shit. But also other people thinking that I'm like against people smoking weed. And so I just want to, if for any of you new people that maybe found the show through that clip, going to let you know right here, right now, I do not smoke weed. I have never smoked weed. I have never hit a vape, drank, whatever. I'm a loser. I'm a straight edge pussy, whatever you want to call me. But I have no problem. And honestly, for people that it helps or that enjoy it and it's not hurting their life in any way, I almost welcome it as a substance when it comes to weed. I think people should use it if you want to smoke weed. If you want to smoke weed, smoke weed. I hope that clears the air. But I don't care enough, man. Like that's the thing. So I had that clip go viral, and then the clip that I had picked out as that video was going viral, right? I wasn't like doing this on purpose in tandem, but the clip that I had chosen from last week's episode to go out this week was a clip where we were joking about how it's wild that there would be those stoner kids in grade school where like their older siblings would give them weed and they'd be like in 5th, 6th grade smoking weed. Like, that's not good for a kid. And I was saying that. So it was, having this one that went viral and then having that, and then I had people being like, oh my God, this guy just hates weed. This guy just hates marijuana. Like, what a pussy. Da, 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 da. It's like, dude, some of my best friends, that sounds bad, but like some of my best friends smoke weed, like a lot. A lot of my friends were into that. So I have nothing against it, man. I think it's cool. I think there's a lot of great usages for it. I just personally don't indulge. But the joke I was making was that, and it's not even a joke. Actually, the point I'm making is you shouldn't give weed to a child, okay? A child in grade school does not need to smoke weed. If you want to fight me on that, we can fight on that, I guess. But other than that, I don't care. Smoke weed if you want to smoke weed. So I just wanted to put that there. What we have here, my brothers hate, what does it say? Hate my tasting guys, so they would definitely try to set me up with someone they approve. We got to talk to your brothers because that's weird too. What does it matter to them? I mean, I guess it matters to an extent who your family members are dating, right? Because you got to see them depending on the relationship. Some families, that's not how it works, actually. You don't have to see them. But, I'm trying to think of a situation or a scenario where I would tell my sister that she should not date somebody. Aside from like if like she leaves the dinner table and like the dude starts like throwing racial slurs and he's like, yeah, I cheated on her, or like, dude, let's go fucking do some crazy shit, like whatever, then I would just be like, hey, just so you know, this happened, this is what this guy said, you do what you want to do with it. Her life. I can't force her to do whatever, same with my brother. Something happened, he's dating a girl. I could not like her, but if he likes her, he likes her, as long as she's not doing nothing, like she's not trying to kill him or she's not trying to put him in danger in some other way, or same thing with my sister, right? And if I think something's sketchy or they're going to maybe put them in harm's way or they could get hurt in the long term, I'm going to just say, hey, fucking, if it's like the Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler, and Glenn and him are at the table and then the girls walk away and he's already hitting on some other girl, I would probably let my sister know, and or brother. I'd be like, hey, your girlfriend was hitting on some other dude the second you left the table. Just going to let you know that. You do what you want to do with that information. I'm not going to force you to fucking break up with anybody. I just think that's weird when siblings or family members try to really get into shit. Yeah, it's just it's weird. It's weird to me. I don't think you should court your siblings. I don't think it is needed. Oh, I wanted to say what's up to Jeb. We haven't said what's up to Jeb in a minute. He's back there still, just so you guys know. I got to dress him in something new. Maybe find a spot for him. Or maybe I'll prop him up a little bit so you guys can see him a little bit more. But that's Jeb back there. It's my adopted son. And yeah, it's been a minute, so I just wanted to say what's up to Jab. And we talked about the anti-weed, that I'm not anti-weed. Oh, which kind of brought me to one other thing I was thinking about the other day was, people, I've been posting a lot of clips, and sometimes it's my guests' opinions, or sometimes it's people explaining maybe a political point of view or something like that. And, been a lot of engagement, people, agreeing, people getting very angry, people saying you can't change people's minds and all these other things. And it got me thinking, because somebody I know and respect was talking about how you can't really change people's minds, and I somewhat agree, because people, the argument is basically like, nobody's going to, people do change their minds, but they do it on their own accord, right? Like I can't, even if I'm making the most reasonable argument, they'd argue that I wouldn't be able to change somebody's mind. And I agree to an extent that people do make it up. People oftentimes, when they change their mind, do it of their own accord. But I would argue, and this is what I was thinking about the other day, I think it's important to, if you're that thorn in somebody's side in your life, like let's say you have a friend that maybe has some problematic ideas, right? Maybe you're not like super close to this person, but you know them, or you work with them, or you're on an okay base. Maybe they're friends with a friend of yours, so you see them from time to time. I think it's important that you not, I'm not saying you sit there and try to change somebody's mind all the time, but that it's made aware of that difference in viewpoints for a couple of reasons. As my cat enters the studio, and he always brushes up right on the tripod, and I think he's gonna knock it down. What are you doing, bro? But I think there is a singular person aside from yourself, right? I think you have the power to change your own mind, and you will come to those conclusions on your own. But I think there is always at least one other person that is the right person that you need to hear information from. Because a lot of times, if we're wrong about something, it could even be about maybe a job isn't good for you, or maybe it is a significant other thing where a friend of yours is like, bro, so-and-so is not very good for you, or whatever, or it's your family, like we were talking about earlier, right? They might not be the person you need to hear it from. It doesn't mean it's wrong, but maybe it's the source that, for whatever reason, your confirmation bias of what you already believed is like, well, of course that person wouldn't agree with me. Of course, I don't care. Maybe I even like that person, but that person isn't the person that could change my mind. There might be a specific person that you respect and is able to deliver that message in a way that you actually accept it. Now you understand it, and then now your mind is changed. And I think it's so. I disagree with people that think that you cannot change somebody's mind, because I know there have been ideas and maybe biases that I've had in my life that I had probably heard, maybe not a ton, but had heard from other people of like, nah, that's not right. Or, man, maybe you should try to do it this way, or you should see it this way. And for whatever reason, maybe it was a lack of respect for the source that I was hearing it from, or maybe it was just that I wasn't ready to hear it. But I couldn't get that information from them, and it didn't make sense to me. And then I heard the same thing worded differently from somebody else that either I respected for something else or cared about for another reason, was able to deliver that message, that same message to me, and it changed my mind. And so, I don't know. I think it's important to still try, if that makes sense. If there's somebody in your life that you in any way care about, even if it's very loose, right? Like you're not like homies super close with them, you're not going to get lunch or whatever, I would just say maybe don't give up on that person. If there's something you really, really believe in. I'm not saying if it's like they are refusing to try mozzarella sticks, you don't have to kill them for that. You don't have to be like, bro, you have to try these fucking mozzarella sticks. Like that doesn't matter. I'm saying other things that maybe you feel are a reason that you're not able to get closer with the person. Don't quit on that, because you could probably build relationships that you thought maybe you wouldn't have been able to. Something I've been thinking about. I think it's another reason why professional athletes should speak on issues that they care about or that they feel strongly about, because there is no way that you could tell me that there are probably people that think very, very maybe problematic things, but they're a huge fan of a certain sports figure and they respect the fuck out of them and they think they're really smart or they think they're really great or whatever it is. Same thing with comedians. I think that's why I don't like when certain comedians try to ignore the fact that they don't believe certain things that they joke about, because their audience does believe it. But so like these people that they highly, highly respect, when they come out and say, like, this is how I actually feel about this, and that's in contradiction to what the fan of them thinks, the fan goes, well, wait, I like so-and-so's commentary about everything else, or I see the world the same way I agree with him on all these other things, so why don't I agree on this one thing? And then they have to look in and be like, is it some personal bias? Is it the way I was raised? Is it some lack of information I didn't have or was refusing to see? And so I think it's important, and I think that there is somebody that can change somebody else's mind, right? So you have somebody in your life that can change your mind, and maybe it's only one person, but there's somebody. Same thing with me. Anybody. I believe that. Maybe it's not true. Maybe it is. I wasn't trying to just like make this go through a weird turn, but something I was thinking about the other day, and I didn't have a guest today, so I thought now was a good time where I could go on a soliloquy like that and deliver those thoughts. So if I'm like wildly off, let me know. That's what this is for. We can have some fun. Also, the playoffs for the NBA. I know I've joked a lot on this podcast because since I've been podcasting, I have not followed like any sports. But I have recently gotten really into the NBA again, and it's been kind of cool to get a second. I can't watch any games because I don't have cable or live sports in any way, shape, or form. So I just wait for I ignore all the scores and everything on like all social media, and then I just wait till the NBA on YouTube posts the full game highlights, and I watch the game like that. So, but I've been really, really loving watching the Warriors the last month and seeing them come back, and they're now in the playoffs officially. I'm excited. So if you're an NBA fan, and you've got a Hulu Live, you should share your password with me maybe. But other than that, guys, that's it. That's our 197th episode of the podcast. I'm thinking about having some of the homies that have been on the show a few times, some experienced vets come through, hang out, maybe have a little get together for the 200th episode, as well as hopefully throw in something fun for you guys, something exciting. So we're almost there. We got a couple weeks, and then it's upon us. Then we're into the 200s, which is wild. So thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for tuning in all the other weeks if you have. If you're new, is your first time tuning in, please do subscribe, hang out with us, turn on notifications so you don't miss next time we go live, because I do love reading your guys' chats and getting to engage with you guys. With all that being said, I want to give a quick shout out to our patrons. It should be up on the channel, up on the screen right now. If you guys are interested in getting behind the scenes access to extra podcasts, extra footage from vlogs, extra videos entirely, as well as a series where I break down how I make every single one of my songs, go to patreon.com/Darren Rita, and you can help support the channel for as little as $1. And it really does go a long way. It helps us out a ton. And there's some cool stuff over there, so you should check it out. Also want to say a quick shout out to Kenosha Auto Insurance for sponsoring this episode. And we got this has been the 197th episode of the podcast. I've got real quick before I wrap, we've got to get Adam Medina back. We will. Adam Medina is the GOAT, okay? You can print that. You can take that to the bank. Adam Medina is the GOAT. The GOAT. Best ever. This has been the 197th episode of the dtalks podcast. I'll see you guys next week.